Hello class, in this video we're going to be talking about JavaFX, the Java GUI based facility. It's chapter 14 in your text, so please be reading that chapter, working through problems in your textbook. In the past for Java, when we were doing GUI applications, we used AWT, the Abstract Windows Toolkit, and Swing. Those facilities have become obsolete, and we're moving on now to using JavaFX. When we're using JavaFX, there are several component libraries that need to be included in our project. JavaFX.application.application, JavaFX.scene.scene, JavaFX.scene.control.button would be needed. For example, if we were going to use a button control, and JavaFX.stage.stage. So the three that are repeating words are pretty much required all of the time. Notice there is JavaFX followed by the lowercase term and then the uppercase term. When we're using JavaFX, our display is going to be presented upon the primary stage. The stage will be where we'll build the GUI elements that we want displayed. Those elements will be part of the scene. The scene will take the stage, and all of the elements will be displayed. We can change the scene for our application, but not the stage. So when we're working with JavaFX, the component of the primary facility being the stage is something that is just taken for granted. When we're working with building a scene, we're going to be adding nodes to our scene. We can have a root node, which can contain other nodes and parent nodes. Parent nodes can contain other nodes, and parent nodes are nodes, so they're all subclasses of the Java system class node. So we can kind of play with these pieces however we want. Think of them like Lego building blocks that however we put them together, we have to have a big enough base. Our scene has to be able to hold them all. If we think about it from a graphical standpoint, we can have a root node that can have nodes displayed upon it, can have a parent node displayed upon it, and that parent node can have additional nodes like radio buttons and checkboxes. Parent nodes would be things like groups, V boxes for vertical boxes, H boxes for horizontal boxes. Our root nodes can be any of the panes, the stack pane, border pane, grid pane. So you'll see that our different components have to be placed in different orders to build our GUI screen. Our stage, again, is always the backdrop. We're going to be having a scene, one scene upon the stage. Our parent can be a pane, a group, or a control. And our node can be a shape, an image view, a UI control, groups, or a pane. So very flexible. Here's an example of a stack pane. In a stack pane, the nodes that are added to the pane are stacked. The first node added will appear at the bottom, and additional nodes will stack on top of that. The stack pane has a single property that's concerned about the development of the stack pane, and that's the alignment. We can change it. Now, a border pane has 5 regions, so as we add nodes, we can specify which region the node should be placed in. So we have regions top and bottom, left and right, and then the center. So this is kind of a common window building block that we'll see where we can add components to that border pane. And then a grid pane is a pane that is divided into cells, and that your nodes can be placed in any cell. We also could add constraints like color and different things like that. Now here's the summary, pretty kind of picture of all the different types of layout panes that we have available in JavaFX. box. Over here on the edge, we have a horizontal box or H box and a V box. So we can see how items would be added to these panes in JavaFX. Our tile pane, everything's added in a tile. There's also a pane called a flow pane, where we're just flowing and adding things. Here's our stack pane, and our grid pane, and our border pane. This is an anchor pane where nodes are anchored to a specific area on the window. So lots of different capabilities for us. Whenever we're working with panes and nodes that we're adding onto our pane, we can add a circumstance called property binding. For example, if we create a pane that has a circle displayed on it, we'd like our circle to move and stay in the center of the pane. We could do that by binding the two properties. The pane would be the source, the bindable object, and it would be considered observable. The circle would be the target object, a binding object, and it would have the binding property that it was kind of watching. So the observable value is an entity that basically wraps the value and allows observing of the value to be changed. So our circle could have an observable property set to the center locations of the pane, and if those locations changed, the circle could adjust and move itself in coordination with the pane. Now, when we're working with nodes, these are all defined by the abstract node class. And this class defines many properties and methods that are common to all nodes. For example, we might see things like style and rotate. So you'll be able to look at all of those if you look at the Java doc. Designing your GUI, we're going to be talking about creating a wireframe, a mockup. We can use some different tools. We have cloud-based tools like Creately. That's the one I would recommend, creately.com. Mockups, MOQUPS.com, fluidui.com. You'll find many more if you search for wireframe tools or mock-up drawing tools, anything like that. We also could use our Visio license from Microsoft Imagine. If that's something that you have, then you could download Visio and use it for a mock-up. Sometimes it feels like we should just go ahead and create an instance kind of what we want our GUI to look like. And we could do things like that using Scene Builder. Scene Builder is a product that allows us to do a GUI view of what you see is what you get view of our form for Java. And Scene Builder was created by Oracle, but has since been moved on to some other people, and right now Gluon is working on developing Scene Builder, and you can find their website at Gluon HQ, and we'll look at that hopefully as the week progresses. Eclipse has a Scene Builder plugin, and IntelliJ also has a Scene Builder plugin. So using those, you could do a visual representation of your form, just kind of a front end. This is an example of a mock-up here where we see different options available based on what buttons are pressed and things like that. Very, very informative mock-up of how things are going to work. When we start talking about JavaFX and GUI design, we really have two options. And I want you to be aware and understand. In our textbook, we're going to be using JavaFX class libraries to build our GUIs. These are customizable. We can use CSS files to control how things are looking with our JavaFX controlled GUI screens, and we can use these kinds of tools to reference any API library built for Java. So this is the JavaFX side, I guess. And then as compared to that, we can use FXML, which is an implementation of XML for form building that is used by Java. So we're using the XML-based markup language that may be familiar to you. We can use utility programs like Scene Builder to generate this FXML, sorry, and we can read the FXML back into the scene builder type utility to update it. So if we use this XML feature of form building, we separate our user experience, our front end, from the back end logic. So you might see different reasons to use both of these. For right now, for our first experiences, we're going to be using JavaFX and using those class libraries as presented by our textbook. Thank you.